This is the North Carolina Budget and Tax Center bringing to you our second in a series of videos about how the North Carolina budget works. We're excited to help break down the budget and budget process to help more North Carolinians understand what and how decisions are being made about things that affect their daily life. The decisions made about the state budget are important because they can help all of our families access what they need to thrive. At the end of the video, we'll let you know how you can send us your questions for a possible future video. Let's get started. How is the budget process supposed to work? Every year on July 1st, North Carolina starts a new fiscal year, which is how it keeps track of its finances. This is to make sure our state can balance its budget, meaning we're not spending more than the state gets from collecting taxes. This also means that by July 1st every year, the state is supposed to have a budget in place, more on that later, that shows how our collective tax dollars will be spent across the various needs we have, such as education, housing, health, and more. Every 2 years, the General Assembly works on what's called a biennial budget, or a budget that will last for 2 fiscal years. On the in-between years, they still usually make some changes to how they would like to spend the state's money. It is important to budget beyond just a single fiscal year to make plans for the future, to anticipate needs, and make sure that over time the state has enough money to keep up with needs in communities. Why is the process taking so long? There are a few reasons the process has been drawn out this year. The first is that several years ago, the North Carolina General Assembly passed a law that said the state will continue with prior spending levels if a budget is not passed by the start of the new fiscal year, which begins on July 1st every year. This means the state will never shut down in the same way the federal government has shut down when it can't agree on a budget for the federal government. All of this means that the General Assembly leaders don't have a hard deadline like they used to. The lack of urgency to fund the state at a level that is needed creates uncertainty about what and how public services can be maintained. Another reason it has taken so long is that tax revenue the state is expected to get has been especially unpredictable for the past 18 months due to the pandemic and economic downturn. Because tax filing deadlines were extended for the past 2 years, the state's economists needed more time to estimate how much money the state would have to spend in the budget. This higher level of uncertainty about what the future holds in tax collections should lead to more cautious changes to the state's tax code. Finally, the General Assembly decided to include decisions about how to spend the state's portion of some COVID relief funds, which the state got from the American Rescue Plan passed by the federal government, in the regular budget. This meant they had to decide how to spend about $5 billion in additional federal funds, which delayed their process. It also means the state is relying more heavily on federal funds for investments that have typically been supported with state money. It's important to know that while the timeline to a final budget continues to stretch out, it hasn't been done to create more time for public input and consideration of needs in a public setting. The budget process started out early with legislative leaders first setting an arbitrary spending target that isn't related to how much the state actually needs for public services for a growing population. They had limited committee hearings, often without space provided for the public to make comments. A good budget outcome requires a good budget process. This means having a healthy debate about the needs and priorities of the state in public forums where everyday North Carolinians can understand how decisions are being made and by whom. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. We hope you found it helpful. If you have questions or comments for us, send us an email at suzyk@ncjustice.org.